Cade Cunningham, electric in an elimination game for the Pistons. He explodes, and Detroit lives to fight another day. 45 for Cade Cunningham in a 7-point win.
I mean, it was great. It's great basketball. He's a great player. It takes a lot for us to stay in front of him and make it hard for him. But that's the series. We have to make plays and, make sure we put our teams on our back. My team made a lot of great plays today, allowed us to get this win. So thankful for them. We got a lot more work to do.
And we talked a lot about this being a bit of a throwback series, a slugfest, physical, relentless. What did you learn about your team's just your strength and your ability to persevere in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we've had, a lot of adversity throughout this season. We've had a great year so far, but, we have a lot of dogs on our team, and we're at our best when our backs are against the wall. So, we know it's going to be an uphill battle right now. We dug ourselves a big hole. It's going to be tough for us to climb out of, but, we handled business tonight. We're ready to get back to Orlando. We got to get one there.
For more, here with NBA champion Kendrick Perkins. Perk, we saw dueling 40 burgers with Cade Cunningham and Paolo Banchero, but of course, Cade was the story as Detroit, the 1 seed, stays alive. How about a little commotion for the historic performance we saw from Cade?
Well, don't y'all love this series, though? It gives you that old school feeling, right? That physicality. You got two young, bright, up-and-coming superstars in Paolo Banchero and Cade that are going at it. And we saw how special they were tonight, and especially Cade. And I love it because we're watching him grow into a grown-ass man. And that's what we saw tonight. Coming off one of the worst performances of his young playoff career, he responded in great fashion. 3-level score, wasn't waiting on anyone to set the tone. He came out from starts, from the jump, setting the tone offensively and being aggressive, and he finished the game in great fashion. And the beauty about Cade is you talking about a guy that is 6'7", 6'8", elite ball handling skills, could utilize the pick and roll, could pull up in transition for the three, can go to the low post, and he gave us a mixture of in and out basketball tonight, and it was a beautiful thing to see, especially in the must-win situation that his team was in tonight.
45 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds for Cade Cunningham. Big perk in the win, and a huge game for Paolo Banchero, too. But he didn't get a whole lot of help anywhere else. Look, Franz Wagner out with the calf strain here. Where else does Orlando need to get it to close out this series at home?
Well, look, every Batman need their Robin, and that's what I've been preaching all postseason. And when you have Paolo come out and have one of these big-time moments, you're looking for a guy that's a veteran that also could get a bucket, and I'm looking at Desmond Bane, right? He had 18 points, but it wasn't powerful. It was popular. In order to close this series out, Desmond Bane is going to have to rise to the occasion and show the world why they traded for him. He's been fantastic all season long, but when you're trying to close a team out and you're in a brawl for it all, Paolo can only do so much. So I'm leaning and I'm looking at Desmond Bane to come in Game 6, to set the tone in Orlando, to come out and have a real impactful offensive performance and seal the deal. Because if not, if this game get pushed to 7 games, then we know how that could go, especially with the Pistons having home court advantage.
Absolutely. The series is very much alive. Perk, we'll be hearing more from you in just a bit. But first, new on SportsCenter, JV Bickerstaff at the podium.
I don't think in person, to know the moment, understand the moment, and then just do whatever was necessary to help us get that win. That's why he's special. That's why he is who he is. And, lead this team, lead this organization, lead us, lead the fans. Like, that's who he is. And he just has the ability to do that. He's special.
And then for him to just continually, you've spoken on it too, but just to meet the moment the way he does, especially in crunch time, what does it mean to have a leader that way?
It's, again, there's a handful of them in the league, right? They're unique, they're special, to put the work in, to have the talent. But, like I said, the way that, as a teammate that he is and understands his responsibility and what he means to this team, he wasn't going to let us go down tonight.
to lead by 17 in the second, 15 in the fourth. Obviously, Orlando hit some big shots like they've hit all series, but what did you like just about how the team sustained that effort tonight?
I mean, I thought, again, our defense is what's going to be key for us. I still think there was room for improvement tonight. They made shots. Obviously, they made some tough ones, but, the simple things, right? The rebound battle, we did a hell of a job. We lost the turnover margin by 1, but, you put the possession game together, keeping them off the offensive glass, creating turnovers, you're going to give yourself a chance.
Two questions, Coach. Short. One on Cade. Until the end when he played straight through, were you doing anything, taking him in and out quickly to give him any sort of different kind of rest pattern in this game than the other one?
Yeah.
The question would have to do with turnovers. Any special thing that enabled you guys to cut down the turnovers?
Just trying to use the timeouts to help him get rest and then give him a little bit of time out of the timeout. So, you get the long TV timeout and the game action, because we do foul a lot and both teams foul a lot. There's a lot of stoppages in play, so those minutes become longer minutes for him to get rest. And again, we just pass the ball to our team instead of theirs. I mean, it's a simple game. And when we do that, it makes our offense efficient.
15 rebounds, 5 steals for Asar Thompson. How big was he for you guys tonight? Not just tonight, but just the whole entire series.
Asar is awesome. And, understanding how he impacts the game and then just doing that. And I think that's one of the things that, stands out is like he sacrifices himself every single night to do whatever the team needs to be done that night. Take on tough defensive assignments. We had a point of emphasis of rebounding the basketball, and he went out and got 11 defensive rebounds for us. So, not to mention, his ability to get deflections, get steals, and just create chaos out there.
KB, did you hear anything from Cade, or did he say anything verbally that made it clear that he was going to do what he needed to do?
I mean, it's him, right? You don't have to hear it. He doesn't. That's the way he is, right? He's not one of those guys that runs around talking a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he knows what the moment is. He understood what was in front of us, and we expected him to go be great.
Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff saying only a few players in the league are like Cade Cunningham. How about Magic head coach Jamal Mosley with Game 6 now Friday in Orlando?
Free throws and rebounding.
Why do you feel like your team didn't have success at the free throw line tonight?
Got to step up and knock them down. I don't think there's any other way to put it. You could analyze it all you want. You got to step up with confidence, take your time at the line, and knock them down. We missed 14 of them tonight, and we gave them 14 in the first quarter.
What did you make of Paolo's play? Obviously 45 points.
I thought Paolo was aggressive as heck. I thought he was trying to make the right plays at the right time, getting downhill, attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line, exactly putting pressure on the rim there. And that's part of the game. That's what we needed him to do. With bodies down, his ability to attack and keep us in the game. I thought that was big time. Again, we'll go back to it again. This game came down to offensive rebounds, second chance points, and free throws.
What effect did the early fouls have on the aggressiveness?
A lot. You pick up 2 quick touch fouls, and then you can't play as aggressive, and then you get a call where you're impeding progress, and there's grabbing and holding going all throughout the game. It's not there. It's not them. It's not them. If we got to the line, we missed 14 free throws. Now we can control the box outs. We can control the free throw line rebounding. We can control the 50-50 balls. You can do something about that. So it has nothing to do with the calls made or not made. The ability that we got there is one thing. We got to knock them down.
Knowing how good you were in all those categories in games 3 and 4, that you can have a bad game. Is that encouraging heading into Game 6 that you can correct those things and kind of get them back on track?
Yeah, it's just a focus level. I think this is a hard-fought game by both teams. I thought it was a very competitive, very physical, very aggressive. The type of rivalry you like. But there's things that we can control, and those are the things we can clean up.
As you know, you went to an 8-man rotation. How did your team do in terms of the next man up mentality with Franz out?
Yeah, I thought guys did a great job. Guys just stepped up and did what they needed to do. I thought AB was good in his minutes, attacking the basket, getting downhill, stepped into a shot with confidence, guarding Cade. Again, they got going, stepped up and made big shots as well. But our ability, and I'm keep coming back to it, to make our free throws and clean up the offensive rebounds.
What
did you see from your team in this first time they've been in this setting with a closeout on the line, that type of thing?
No, I thought their resilience was great. I mean, it was a 9-point game, 10-point game, goes to 17 at one point, and you don't rattle. You know, we go in at halftime down 6, and we had missed 9 free throws at that point, gave up 10 offensive rebounds at that point. And so if you say that you're going to be in that situation on the road, would you take it? Yes. You know, but that's not what we need to be doing. Now we need to start taking care of the things that we can, which is knocking down our free throws, boxing guys out, coming up with the 50-50 basketballs. And that's what we're going to have to do and make sure we take care of home.
Mentality-wise, what did you think of the way they approached it?
I thought our guys did a very good job at the initial part, you know, the 50-50 balls in the beginning. Didn't love those. I think they had 7 offensive rebounds early. Those were some free throw box outs. Now, again, you can't help the calls being made in those early moments, but the ability to stay the course regardless through the game is what we're asking these guys to do. But I'm going to keep saying it over and over. It sounds like a broken record. We make our free throws, you finish the possessions, you give yourself a better chance.
You saw the urgency that Detroit played with their backs against the wall. It's a game 6, your last game at home.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your team needs to play? Or
with a sense of urgency, with a sense of taking care of home, with the way that we know how we play at home in front of our fans, with that energy and that excitement in that building. But we've got to make sure we're doing the smart version of it. And it's not about hitting home runs, it's about hitting singles all night long. And that's doing the little things. That's the box outs. That's the free throws being made. That's the coming down, getting into a set, attacking where we need to attack, and then getting back in transition and keeping them out of the paint.
Well, the Pistons have forced a Game 6 with a Game